I'm Dr. Kim Kinsler with Kinsler Psychology, and today we're talking about tips for college success. I have with me Chris, Marissa, and Laura. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us, and thank you guys for joining us. I want to get some input from you guys on what it's like being a college student today. Some of the things that you go through, some of the challenges you've had, and in particular, how you've overcome them. So let's start off with just a little bit of information. What year of school are you in?
I'm in my senior year of school. I graduate next semester in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also in my senior year, and I'm also graduating in the spring of next year.
Okay. Awesome.
I recently graduated in December,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually taking some post-bac classes at the moment.
And so you're going to get an additional degree?
Yes. Or not an additional degree, but credentials for medical school.
Okay, so you're applying to medical school?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Good luck with that. So, okay, so you're a pre-med major then?
Yes.
And Marissa, you are
I'm a marketing major.
A marketing major, and
I'm also pre-med.
You're also pre-med. Okay, so now here's the big question, because when you look through the course catalog, there are a million majors. How did you pick yours?
I picked mine because when I was in high school, originally I thought I was going to go into like theater. My parents didn't want to fund a fine arts degree. Understandably, I figured that out on my own, but understandably, there's a reason for that, and I'm actually okay with it. There's a million ways to do what you want, but I really like business, and I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit, and the facet of business that allows me to do what I love, which is making things look nice and making things pretty and cohesive, and also being on like the forefront and being the face is marketing. So that's what I went with.
Okay. All right. So how did you guys choose your majors?
I think the most important thing to kind of look at is like your passion and money, right? And
Passion. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Money is important.
passion and money, right? Because you need money to pay for living. So if you're one of those lucky few people that love something that makes you a lot of money, then it's fantastic. Good on you.
Mm-hmm.
For the most of us, though, we have to choose between, we have to at least compromise on one or the other, right? So she wanted to do like theater. Theater is probably not the most safest of careers. So she chose to do something like business, right? So I think along the way, I definitely struggled with that between choosing like my passion, what I wanted to do, and money. And I think at this point, I've kind of compromised more passion for money. So I've kind of gone towards the medical route. So that's how I chose.
So you looked at money
Yes.
and said, how can I do something close to what I want to do, but make the most money?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What about you, Laura?
I had a little bit more of just a different way I got into my major. So I've known from a pretty early age what I wanted to do. Probably about 13 years old, I knew I wanted to become a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people a lot of times what happens in college is you'll change your mind because you grow as an individual and you realize different passions, or you realize you're good at different things. But luckily I did really stick on that path to my senior year, to the year that I'm going to start applying for medical school. And I think I really just grew to love science, and I grew to love the idea of patient care and being able to learn more about the human body. Just college really enhanced that, passion. So
Okay. So now, speaking of money, money is always an issue in college. Yeah. So I remember being in college, and I put groceries on my credit card. Money is an issue in college.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How do you guys manage your funds?
As you grow in college, you start to understand it a little bit better. Like at the beginning of college, I definitely wasn't managing my funds. I was sort of just blindly spending money.
Mm-hmm.
I had just gotten my first credit card, and you're kind of on your own in terms of like, you don't have your parents there constantly with you on campus or driving around when you're studying, going to different fast food places to tell you, well, do you really need to spend money on that right now? You kind of just
Say realizing that like it helps, it gets better, but realizing that this is the brokest you will ever be. And like, thank the Lord, because it's rough. The way I manage is I have 2 jobs, so That's
2 jobs, okay.
Yeah, 2 jobs, and that definitely helps, because I do have bills and food that I need to buy. So I like to buy my groceries and then make food so that I don't have to constantly go to fast food places. Because if I don't have any food, I'm just like, well, don't have any food. Need to pick up something because I don't feel like studying and making dinner. It's not going to happen. It's going to be one or the other. So I have to make it ahead of time. So that definitely saves money.
Okay. So how do you manage money?
Well, I think kind of going back to what she was saying, you don't, right? At least you don't manage. College students usually don't manage their money. don't manage their money very well. At least in the beginning, right? In the beginning, you're gonna be eating Hot Pockets, ramen, those Easy Mac, and the little quick make pastas, and of course that's gonna happen, absolutely. But as you start to go on through your years in college, you kind of understand how to budget, and I think that's the most important thing, right? And you kind of learn that you can kind of make dinner for 2 nights on the same amount of money that buying 2 packs of Hot Pockets might be, right? So you kind of understand how to budget your money correctly.
So I just want to segue then. We talked about money management. What about time management?
Should I be?
Do you? How do you balance then your classes, your friends, if you're dating, and getting all of your work done? What's time management like?
It's hard. It's also difficult.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Should I be here? It's hard.
I will say I was recently given a really great tidbit of advice that says as a college student, me especially, I want to do all of the things. So I'm very social. I'm a very outgoing person. So whenever I have a very difficult time saying no when friends want to go out or friends want to do stuff. So I need to make it a point to wait until there's a break. Wait until I have a break to do all of the things, because studying in school is important. So my friends will always be there, hopefully, but this time, this semester where I have to study and stuff, it's going to come and go, and I need to make sure I'm doing my best in it. So waiting until there's a break to go out more, and then, you have free time to spend that money because you have extra time to go to work and you're making more money. So it sort of would work out better if I had got that advice sooner. But here we are at the end of the semester.
Okay. So you're learning to prioritize then.
Yeah. I think, especially for me, one thing that's teaching me the best time management currently right now is I'm studying to take the MCAT to apply to medical school. And one thing that I'm finding is really helpful is the use of an online app that's a calendar. So it's basically a daily planner. And, one thing remains the same throughout college. You're going to have to study for your classes.
Yes.
I don't, whatever major you are, however much you think you don't or do, especially in the hard sciences, you have to carve out time to study or you just won't do well. And again, with the prioritizing, if the school is important and you want to go into a competitive grad school, you have to carve the time out to get good grades. So one thing remains the same for me on my calendar, and that's my study time. So carving out the times each day to study and then working your personal social life around those times is very helpful, because regardless at this time I have to sit down and study. So if my friend Marissa calls me and says, do you want to go to the mall on Friday evening, but that's my weekly study time, you can politely say no. Can we go at this time instead? And just look for those free spots in your calendar.
So you have your calendar already planned out for when you're going to study.
Yes, I usually do it probably, for me, it's helpful to do it a week in advance. I know some people who do it a month in advance, but, it's just really nice because it's dedicated blocks of time where, those are the times I have to say no.
So in college, there are a lot of opportunities. There are opportunities where you see things for the first time, you see things you've never seen before, you are exposed to ideas that you've never heard of before. How do you select? How do you make a decision and select the peer group that's appropriate for you? Because there is a quote, or there's an idea that says you are essentially the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Kind of like birds of a feather flock together. How do you choose?
I say, don't find go to every club, right? Even if you don't particularly enjoy these clubs or agree with these clubs' ideals, right? Go there at least once, kind of talk to everyone, right? Learn from everyone. So it's not so much as finding a peer group that's most similar to you, right? That's not what college is for. College is for growing, right? So go and find everyone that's different from you. Talk to them, learn from them. And then from there, you'll kind of grow and understand like different ideas, like Marissa was saying. And something you won't agree with, right? But be open-minded, learn, and in time you'll find that you kind of understand it, right?
Okay.
So I think that's most important.
Okay, so I have a question. I have a question for all of you, and I guess I can start with you, Chris. You've gone through college, and I'm going to start with you because you actually graduated and you've come back, and you two are about to graduate. Is there anything about college, now that you can think about your years there, is there anything about college that surprised you? Like if you had to say, I didn't expect this, I was surprised by that, what would you say?
So I was actually a high school student who graduated with a 1.8 GPA, right? So I skipped all of my classes, I didn't do any of my work, and I didn't think school was for me, right? And so I almost didn't graduate from high school, but I did by the skin of my teeth. And from there, I didn't think college was for me, right? Because I had been failing so hard at high school, and at that point in time, I felt like a failure, right? Because I barely graduated high school. I didn't think college was ever for me, right? That wasn't my path. So I didn't know what I was gonna do, right? So I just want to, really emphasize to, the seniors out there who aren't doing so well in school, right? Who are having kind of trouble with anything that's going on in their lives, right? That just because, you perform poorly in high school doesn't mean the path is over, right? So I went into my local community college, applied there, worked my way up to get my associate's degree there, and then I transferred over to USF, and now I have a bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida, alongside, my girlfriend who graduated high school with like a 5.8 or something. So, just because you didn't perform well doesn't mean it's the end for you. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to add something that just popped in my head too, that I think is really something I didn't realize, or actually, towards the first years of college, was the importance of finding a mentor. And I think a lot of college students don't understand that idea because, in high school you just have advisors who you kind of have to see. But especially when you're thinking about a future career for yourself, which is really what you're going to college for. The end goal of college is to prepare you for your career, to make you more educated for that. Linking up with a mentor who is maybe in that field, somebody maybe somebody who can refer you, who can help guide you, give you advice, give you opportunities that you otherwise, wouldn't know existed in college, because it can be very scary and kind of confusing when you're pursuing something that you don't know too much about. So I think the importance of mentoring is huge, that a lot of high school students, they really just don't realize that exists. So
I would also say you don't realize how much you grow from one year to the next. So I know in high school, a lot of high schoolers think, oh no, don't, high school seniors, I've got it all figured out. I know exactly what I'm doing. Not all of them, but I was one of those people who was saying, I've got my 10-year plan, and it's fine, I still have my 10-year plan, but I didn't have it all figured out, and so learning that is okay, because you will grow and you will mature. You're not done growing. You may be done physically growing, but you're not done growing and maturing mentally. So,
Thank you very much. In fact, I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to stop by and just share some tips and strategies for the high school students that are coming behind you. College is truly a journey, and in fact, just being an educated, well-rounded person is truly a journey. And I know each of you